Hey guys, Caleb here with DSLR Video Shooter, and this is what I'm calling the Minimal Cine Rig. It can transform into several different configurations in seconds, has a monitor that can be used directly on the camera or wirelessly, and the whole setup is powered off of one battery type. And in this video, I'll show you the parts I used to create this and how you can build one for your own camera. This camera rig is perfect for anyone who likes to change up their rig on the go and needs to move fast. So if you're a one-man band or shoot a lot of documentary style stuff, you're going to love this kit. Before we dive into the parts list, I want to let you know this video is not sponsored. However, it is supported by those of you who have purchased my camera guides and LUTs. Check the link in the description to learn more, and thank you guys so much for the continued support. It helps keep sponsors off of these videos. And with that out of the way, let's dive into the parts list for this build. So you can use any camera or lens for this build, but I went with the Sony FX30 with the Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8. This Super 35mm camera is incredible value at $1,700 new, and the Sigma 18 to 50 is insane. It's compact, looks great, and has the most wild minimum focus I've ever seen. I covered it in a recent FX30 lens video that you can check out for more information. Moving on to the rig parts, you're going to need several Ulanzi F22 accessories. I've done a review on this quick release system in the past, and it has been life-changing here in the studio. The first accessory we're going to need is this 5-position quick release plate, which we can mount to the top of our camera. The FX30 has 1/4-20 mounting holes on the top, so I can mount it directly to the camera, but a cage would also work fine for other cameras. Next, we're going to need this F22 top handle, which comes in two parts: the handle and this angled bracket. Finally, we'll need this friction monitor mount, which can tilt and rotate. It comes with 2 mini quick release plates, which we're going to need. To put all this together, I took the handle, removed it from the included L bracket, grabbed one of those mini quick release plates from that friction monitor mount, and added it to the handle bracket here. This allows us to mount the handle on either end of that bracket and change the orientation of the top handle to balance your rig, no matter how long your lens is. Keep in mind, these mini plates also come with these tiny pins to keep the plate from rotating, which is awesome and I would highly recommend using. Next, I took the second mini quick release plate that came with that monitor mount, and I mounted it directly to my monitor. I'll talk about the unit I'm using here in a second, but now I can mount the monitor to the friction mount and put it on top of the camera on one of the multiple mounts on the handle, or remove the handle and use it with the monitor for a wireless setup, and that brings me to the monitor I'm actually using here. This is the Hollyland M1. It is a $550 5-inch monitor that has one huge feature that most monitors don't. It can transmit or receive a video signal with other Hollyland transmitters and receivers. So you could mount this monitor to your camera, use it as a regular monitor, but also send a signal over to a receiver, which you could use with a larger production monitor. The reverse is also true. You could stick a small transmitter on your camera and send a feed over to the Hollyland M1 monitor mounted to perhaps that handle that comes with this rig. Throw a wireless follow focus system in there and you've got a pretty sweet little setup. You can very quickly switch between receiving and transmitting in the menu. On top of all of that, the M1 is just a really nice touch monitor and comes with a ton of tools to help you get correct exposure, check focus, and frame your image. Now, I've been using this monitor with the Mars 400 transmitter and receiver kit, but you can use it with other models from Hollyland, including the Mars 300 Pro and 400S Pro. The other nice thing is you can buy these transmitters or receivers separately, so you don't have to buy both the transmitter and the receiver. You can just purchase a transmitter and use it just with the monitor, or vice versa. Now, I do want to disclose that I asked Hollyland to send this monitor and these transmitter receivers because I thought it'd be a perfect fit for this rig. But if you don't need wireless video, you can simply swap this out for any monitor you want. And if you're looking for a good budget recommendation, the OCT5 is a fantastic monitor with a ton of tools. It's also really affordable at around $150 or less. That said, whatever monitor you go with, I would highly recommend you get one that supports LUTs, because a big part of this minimal rig is LUT workflow, and I have created a ton of different LUTs, and because this is a Sony camera, I've been using my S-Log3 LUT pack, which includes a custom tuned false color for S-Log3, and you can load it on the monitor or in the camera, which is just amazing. And I can also turn on my exposure shift LUTs, allowing me to see what things will look like in post when I bring things down, allowing me to expose to the right in camera, yet also see what things are going to look like when I sit down to edit and when I bring luminance down. You can learn more about all of my LUTs at pikeluts.com, but for now we're going to move on to power. I've been using this little plate that I built in a separate video to adapt Sony MPF camera batteries to any Sony f-style battery plate. This means with a single battery type, Sony FC100s, I can power this monitor, the camera, and these transmitters and receivers with a single battery type. So a handful of batteries and a charger, and I'm good to go. Alternatively, you could get a bunch of the Sony F-style batteries, which will power these devices. You'll just have two different battery types to juggle. But again, the goal of this build was to keep things super duper minimal and super flexible and fast. Another important thing with this rig is the cable, or the HDMI cable. And for this, Condor was kind enough to send me this really slick angled HDMI cable at a custom length. Now these aren't available yet, but they should be here in the spring, so stay tuned for that from Condor Blue. Maybe we'll do a video on these. The last piece of this rig is something that's optional, but I swear by, and that is the Kessler Kwik plates. It's essentially an Arca Swiss plate that you mount to the bottom of your camera, but now you can set your whole rig down and it doesn't flop around. In fact, it's really rock solid, and I love these things. They're not cheap, but they're just so good. Okay, so there's one last thing I want to mention as an option for a kit like this, and that is going to be a filter kit. You'll notice I don't have built-in NDs, and I really don't care for fader NDs. You can look up the pros and cons of faders, but I really like straight ND filters, and this tiny little kit is perfect for a setup like this. The first part of this filter kit is going to be this cute little bag from Mindshift, which is great. Inside, I have two different filters, and these filters have magnetic adapters, so I can simply pop them onto the front of the lens without having to sit there screwing them in or unscrewing them to put them back and swap filters. I bought these filters, I don't know, 5-6 years ago or so, and they have been flawless, and they are from Breakthrough Photography. I've gone with two different strengths, a 3-stop and a 6-stop, and for almost every single shooting environment, that has been plenty. So again, you can go with anything for filtration, and obviously a fader would be really fast and convenient, but I do prefer the quality of a standard fixed ND, and using those magnet adapters makes switching them out super fast. So that is going to wrap up this minimal cinema build. Hope you enjoyed it. Everything mentioned will be down in the description, and if you enjoy videos like this, make sure you subscribe. I have a lot more rig videos and custom kits like this coming up. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video.